Hi everyone, it's Natalie here at Sanskrit Blue. Welcome. It's that time of year. It feels like it's right for a reflection. And as I start this, I have to just acknowledge that it feels really weird to like congress with my own face without glasses on. I've had glasses all year because I couldn't get to the eye doctor, and I knew my prescription had changed. I knew that my near-far vision was starting to make some massive adjustments, which it has done. But it hadn't progressed to the point where, anyway, I didn't feel comfortable ordering contact lenses without having first seen my eye doctor. We also have a lot of vision issues and health issues that run in our family are eye related. So, which I seem not to have, knock wood, but you know, I just make sure to do that. Anyway, so I now have contact lenses again, and it's lovely. And I forget that I'm wearing them sometimes again, which is like a great feeling. Anyway, updates, right? So I've been thinking about like how to actually do this, because so many things have happened over the last several months. I don't even know where to begin. And I did the kind of personal update. I made a shot at a couple of other follow-up videos that I just wasn't happy with in the end. They didn't feel, it didn't feel like, I have to do the getting comfortable thing here. It didn't feel, it's not that it didn't feel authentic. It just didn't feel like it was, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. I'm sure I'll have edited this out, but suffice it to say, it just was not, it didn't feel right. It felt like I was missing a lot of things, or or could have cut a lot of other things. And I didn't really want to take the time to go back and edit, which is exhausting. And now I kind of have a greater sense of what I want to say and how I want to put it forward. So yeah, I think just makes it easier. So with that said, I thought I would, well, it's where to start. There's just been so much. So I like last year at about this time or a little before, we were all watching Natalia from Ouroboros or Ouroboros, however you want to pronounce it. And she had made some videos about spiritually starving, right? And buying decks and hoarding decks through a sense of spiritual starvation, right? Or of needing to, have more of them because of wanting that connection. And where I feel like I didn't do badly with that in 2019, I did in 2020. Which is funny because it's not where I started the year, right? When we were all in lockdown through the pandemic, I was not there. And something I feel really good about is the way in which this year I really invested time and effort and energy into my formal Buddhist practices, which I really, really feel have been a lot. They've just been a lifesaver. They've been a lifesaver. And I think that when my client when everything kind of amped up in July was when it really went haywire and became extremely challenging on so many levels, which lasted all the way until he passed away on the 6th of October. So that was a big, long stretch of really hard work, and just like really intensively hard work, like not great for the nervous system hard work. It was hard on every level. It was hard. Those of you who've seen the previous video about that experience, you get what I'm saying. So I think what I did in that second half of the year was because of just feeling so spiritually starved, right? I would end up buying more decks, right? Or seeking more information. Sometimes that's another way in which I do that, right? Is to get more. I want more. I want to know more. I want more information. I want to learn more. I want to understand more. So there was, I'm going to have to shut that blind. Hang on. Okay, that's better. I'm only just a little bit literally blind, like sun blind, and seeing, where the sun was coming through the blinds in my immediate vision. But yeah, I think I was so just starved for quiet, for space, for, you know, time for practice that when I had quiet time at work, you know, with the client or at night before bed or in a moment where I was pulling an overnight, you know, sitting and waiting and just kind of listening, where I could have really just been using that time to practice. My mind and my body were so busy that the way I filled that space was, you know, oh, there's a new deck. Maybe I should check out that deck. Maybe I'll check out this. Maybe I'll do this. I mean, it was too much. And I lost in some, you know, it was a weird year where I would gain this tremendous sense of like spiritual, like spaciousness and openness and feel amazing. And then that would stay with me through times that got excruciatingly busy. And then I would start to notice, oh, I'm not holding that space in my life, you know, the way I do in my practice. And I'm noticing my practice diminish. But I'm still doing good. I'm feeling good here. So I'm going to keep pushing ahead. Because in some ways, I was able to push further through things and beyond things than I ever have. And still really hold things together. And it hit point sometime at the end of July or beginning of August where I recognized, like, I can't keep this up. It's not gonna, I can't do it. I can't keep it up. And I had to, that's when I came forward and was like, look, I'm doing too much. I'm spread too thin. I'm going to have to cut back on things. And it was the right thing to do. I really have the FOMO. I've had such horrible FOMO, of like, what did I miss? What did I miss? And yet, you know, but yet I would still find myself like watching videos and things, just not feeling the pressure to engage as much. But I did take a break for quite some time where I didn't even look at social media at all. And then I would realize I'm looking too much and I'm going to need to cut it back again. That's been a while ago, just to be clear. Like when my client passed away, I was like, whoopee! And then I would binge on things and then I'd be like, oh, I can't do anymore and put it away for a day or two. So it's just been very up and down, you know, very, very heavily on doing something or then pulling back. And it's been, you know, a year of extremes that way. And it's been uncomfortable. But what's necessary? So I'm just kind of rolling with it at this point. There are times and weeks where I feel like, you know, I'm going to do loads of things with the channel or with engaging. And then other weeks where it's just not happening. And I really just need that space to continue like finding that stillness. But that's all to say, in the midst of this, I amassed a large number of decks and books. And I'm going to have to just go into next year and say no more. I'm going to just stay, you know, I've got the ones that I've supported through Kickstarter or gotten ordered, and then I need to put the kibosh on it and stop. Because enough is enough. Sometimes enough is enough. And it has to be, and it's there for a reason. Again, though, the time I spend invested on, you know, in practice that is, you know, that's like formal, you know, Buddhist practice has been transformative in so many ways and in such wonderful ways that I'm really grateful, honestly, for that as an opportunity. So sometimes these things happen and it's, you know, the growth that we have it takes place on so many other levels that it's really hard to even know how to verbalize it. So rather than try to verbalize it or exaggerate or choose inadequate language, I would rather just say that, I think. That said, something this year that has become very prominent in my kind of like divinatory or fortune telling practice, and I really have embraced the term fortune teller this year, actually. which is, I don't know that I ever would have expected to, but I really love it. I really do. You know, sometimes, I mean, we're all, you know, those of us who are in this community can kind of tend to be very like, focused around, you know, this is the right way to do it. This is the wrong way to do it. It's not spiritual if you do this or this or this, or sport, you know, fortune telling itself is not spiritual. Third party questions are not spiritual, you know. I decided when I went last year to read on the lines, which I still do from time to time, and I still really love it. You know, was that I'm here to address suffering, and that means that I have to address it in myself. But then it also means, you know, of holding a space of non-judgment and empathy for, you know, whomever is in front of me. Whether it's literal or virtual, although this year it's all been virtual. And then, you know, coming to it from a place of wanting to just listen, you know, what is the pain, or what is the suffering, and what's the best way to address it, you know, through whatever, you know, method or system that's, you know, that's available, right? And finding, really finding and working more in depth with the Lenormand, and with the KIPPER, and then adding to it, you know, Hanafuda, which I haven't used for divination because I've just been enjoying playing solitaire with them, which I know sounds crazy, but it's delightful. Best game of solitaire you've ever had. You know, and now, because I just got a hold of these, you know, it's basically the Sibilla, right? I'm just loving these playing card systems and the ways in which they've evolved, and the kind of casual, relaxed nature of them. They're so talkative. They're so verbal, in ways that I would never have expected, but in ways that are just absolutely wonderful. Yeah. So it didn't start with the KIPPER deck that I got and reviewed, you know, with the Alexandre Musruck's deck. It started really. So here's this KIPPER. It was really when I picked up Lenormand decks at the end of last year. And so we'll just look at, this is his deck, which, as you know, I'm a big fan of. Yeah, it started with Lenormand last year. I couldn't quite wrap my head around Lenormand initially. It just, I couldn't, it just was not making sense. At some point, probably late in the summer this year, after spending several months kind of picking it up, putting it down, picking it up and putting it down, and so forth, and of course this is KIPPER. But, you know, specifically Lenormand, you know, at some point it just started to kick in. And it just started to, the readings began to make sense. And I didn't have to work very hard. It was just like, oh, yes, this, and this. And so by the time the KIPPER deck arrived, I was tickled. Pink, because, more pink than my itchy spot on my neck. Because I was so excited to see what is the difference. And it couldn't be more different, even though there are 36 there are 36 cards in this deck, and there are 36 cards in a Lenormand deck. There's 36 in either one. And so, yeah, just learning more and more about that, where they came from what they were derived, has been utterly delightful. I have enjoyed it no end. And I now have both of Musruck's books. So I have his KIPPER book, and I went ahead and bought his Lenormand book as well, and it's fabulous. I also purchased the Card Geek's Guide to KIPPER Cards by, I don't know how she says her last name. I would have said Toni Puhle. And it is fabulous. And it's just completely different than Musruck's book in every possible way. And I haven't gotten very far through it. I haven't annotated much because, again, I can choose sometimes either to learn or to read, and then I will choose to get yet another book and then start reading that one, and you know how it goes. So it's, you know, part of the problem being a bibliophile, right, is that you're always wanting another book. And just being a total information nerd. I'm just a nerd. I can't help it. But it seems I'm in good company in this community that way. Oh yes, I wanted to show, so a few decks that I've come to work with. This is by far and away my favorite deck, LENORMAND deck. And it is the, it's about to be a destroyed box because I carry it with me everywhere. The destroyed DONDORF. And I'll be sure to I'll make sure I put a link to this person's site. They were on Etsy. I think it's a she, but they were on Etsy, and then they're announced on Etsy that they were shifting their site online. Unknown caller, potential spam, going straight to the voicemail. At any rate, Etsy moved from Etsy back to just their own website, and that's where I found them. So this is not a cheap deck, okay? It is gorgeous. The quality of the cards is extraordinary. And this particular, she's got a Dondorf that is a restored version, but this one you will see in a moment why it's called the destroyed version, right? Part of it is like this person wrote either card, I can't make it out, but wrote card meanings or spilled ink and had bits chewed out of the cards, you know. So the edging here that you're seeing kind of around the outside of the frame of the card is from, you know, they're kind of like bitten up and chewed up, no pun intended because it's the mice, because it was somebody's beloved deck, you know, back when you could only have one, maybe, or they weren't as easily come by. And so it maintains that. There's one in here somewhere, so you can see like there's a fold where the card was kind of folded or dog-eared. Somewhere in here, there is a card that was, there's one missing a corner. There's a card that was taped. There it is, the stork. And I just love that. I love the detail. And I swear it comes through in the character of the cards. So when I read with these, this one has the mountain has a coffee ring on it. You know, or a cup ring. The way that they read is utterly delightful. They are chatty, they're playful, they're extremely, God, I don't even know how to, they jump a lot when they want to read. They really, really will jump. They are, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to describe. They're just chatty. They're friendly. There's an energy of, you know, I've been sitting on someone's, you know, a dining room table for the last 80 years, and now you're my new owner, and I'm thrilled to talk to you. Oh my gosh, I know so many things. Let me share. And it has that feel. So, and I know that sounds insane, but it does come across somehow in the way that they play, in the way that they read. So, yeah, they're just delightful. What do we skip? We skip the clover. There we go. I carry these everywhere. So they come with me in my little pouch that I've got. And I've been taking them with me like whenever, well, pretty much everywhere. So if I want to just pull some out and read them or throw down some cards, I've been doing that a lot when I go to visit my mom and dad. They'll say, ooh, what about this? Let's ask about this while we're watching the news. So I'll put down cards, read about it, you know, we'll talk about it and see what happens. They're great predictors. They just come right out with the information, lay it out for you, and it's there, which is delightful. Like, so one of the exercises, I gotta back up. I'm getting too excited. So one of the books that I just recently got is this one. It's been around a long time. It's been around, it's 2013 is its publication date. I've read about 50, 60 pages in, maybe. I'm just looking, where did I get to? Probably about 50 pages in. And I didn't have a marker or anything with me to annotate, which of course bugs me because I always want to come back and look at stuff, but that just means you go back and reread it, right? But one of the things that Patrick Dunn suggests, you know, with Lenormand is like try reading to ask what the TV show or movie is that you're about to watch and see what the card says. So without giving any spoilers, last night we decided to watch Dr. Sleep, which is the part 2 of The Shining. Okay, so this shouldn't offer too many spoilers. If you've seen the movie though and you read Lenormand, this will make sense. So let's see if this comes across in the right order. I think it does. The first card that came up was Woman, then Sun, and then the Whip. So if you've seen Dr. Sleep, that should, yeah, that should make some sense. Then, so that was in that deck, which I carry around with me. There will be another Dr. Sleep prediction here in a minute with another deck. I took out several of them and sat with them last night and was just like playing and shuffling. I'd be like, look, 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 Tom, it just commented on that last scene. And he'd be like, yes, dear, thank you. That's very nice. But they do, you know, they just do. So yeah, this deck, the box is going to get chewed up pretty soon. I did film an unboxing and walkthrough of this, as I have for a lot of these, but I haven't posted them because I was on a break and then I got back and was like, oh no, look at all these videos to like edit and figure out. I don't know if I can cope. And sometimes I just need to put my energy elsewhere for a while. But if it's something that anyone wants to know more about, you know, and probably because I love it so much now, I would be happy to, you know, put it up because it's great. So there's that. Then, and this book, not done with it by any means, but it's so far, the guy's great. He's also a PhD and studied literature, so I'm sure that has something to do with the you know, the quality of the writing, but it's not just that, you know, he knows his stuff. Like he's a magically operant individual, which I also feel changes the way that things come across in writing. Here's another one. So this is the Hermes Playing Card Oracle by Robert in Place. Marvelous deck. And so here's another one. Again, last night watching. It's 52 instead of 36. So I'll talk about that whole thing here in a minute in more detail. So this one kicked out a lot of cards in comment to different things. But it did it in pairs right when I first pulled the deck out. So it first came out with this one and then this one. This is for Dr. Sleep. Okay. And at first I was like, I could interpret that a number of different ways. I'm not sure I'm seeing that. And then I thought, hey, just put them down, Nat. Put them down, see what comes up at the end. So these two at first, and then these two. And all I'm going to say is that, wait, is that in the right order? It should be left to right. I hope that's in the right order. All I'm going to say is that it predicted the ending in its own way, in a way that made me laugh out loud when I picked him up and said, Tom, look, this is what this is what this deck had to say about Dr. Sleep and the plot. So if you know the movie, it'll make sense. But it does keep the focus is on the playing cards. This, of course, the crossroads. But it gives you, I love it because it has basically there are 36 cards. The cards that apply to the Lenormand are true to the Lenormand. Right? So they are absolutely what they should be. This was another commentary from another scene, by the way, that turned out to be utterly accurate in the most extraordinary possible way, but I can't talk about it without giving spoilers, so I won't. Yeah, it was just amazing. It was wonderful. But yeah, so you can see this is the stork, right? This one is not in the Lenormand, right? But it's the eye. The dog, so it stays true to the Lenormand where it should, right, with the Queen of Clubs and the snake, and it deviates, in other areas. It's a wonderful deck to read with if you're wanting to learn more about playing cards and Lenormand, like how the two intersect, because it will give you the number, it'll give you the, the object, right, like the key. but it's the 8 of diamonds. So you begin, I begin to like look at like, oh, what does that mean exactly? 8 of diamonds. And the key. Isn't that interesting? You know, just it gives it another dimension. It's a great deck. Again, it adds different animals and things that are not part of the, you know, the original Lenormand. It's fascinating. It's a really cool deck. And again, it's Robert in Place. I got it right from his website / blog. Before I move on completely the idea of 52 card decks, I also got the House of Shadows Lenormand or Oracle. This is a 4th edition. I know her 5th is about to come out or has come out, by Monica Bodirsky, who I've just come to love. And her YouTube channel is great. Her videos are really good. She really knows her stuff. And it's delightful. This deck has a completely, utterly different feel. It's also got extra cards in it. But a totally different feel than the ordinary Lenormand deck. Ooh, come back, little stork. It's about movement. It's telling me it's about movement. Yeah, or about motion. It's just wonderful. And there's so much in here about, you know, the meaning of the card. So if you're learning Lenormand, you know, of course the dolls are not part of the original, but you can get a sense of what that might mean. Yeah. Brooms, Harvest. It's a delightful deck. It's really delightful. And it pairs, of course, beautifully with her tarot deck. The Shadowlands Tarot. It really does. It's wonderful. So there's that. It is also delightful. Then coming back to this whole 52 card playing card deck, I've also got the Maybe Lenormand, which I think I had put out a video about back in whenever, over the summer, sometime when I got it. It comes in like a larger box, so oops, it splits the deck in two, which I don't like. But, you know, you deal with it. It's not such a bad thing. I love this deck. I have really come to appreciate Ryan Edward tremendously. I may have to do his playing card Marseille as well. I really like him. He's a native of the area where I live. I know he lives, I think, over on the Illinois side, or he was born and raised there. Maybe lives over here now. He just did an interview with Gordon on Rune Soup, the Rune Soup podcast. So for anyone who listens to the Rune Soup, he did a fantastic interview with Gordon on that show. I think I just caught it in the car one day. It's really a great deck. It is not, it is Lenormand. It does add the extra cards in. I don't know from what he based those meanings, or upon what he based those meanings, because it's not clear. You know, your guess is as good as mine. I know that Robert in Place definitely would have done his research, definitely would have gone back to various different historical documents and books and so forth in order to get that information for us. I don't know. I can't say with any, you know, with any definite, I can't say that Ryan Edward did or did not. I will say there are some areas where those cards overlap and some where they don't. My partner wants to help me make a spreadsheet. We were talking about it the other day. He's a big spreadsheet nerd. He loves his spreadsheets. And so we were talking about like how to do that, and we might do that. That might be a thing, because I kind of really want to see where all of these things overlap. But also, having discovered the Sibilla just the other day, just got these. Very inexpensive low Scarabeo deck. I know that each of these correspond with a playing card. There are 52 in a Sibilla deck. And I want to know more about the correspondences with the playing cards. And really the only way to do that is probably, I was going to write it in the borders, but I can't really on this. I might get another second one. It's either Llewellyn or Low Scarabeo makes another Sibilla deck that's, again, equally inexpensive and affordable, where I might be able to just write in the, you know, the correspondence to the playing card. Because I really want to know. I'm curious about what these overlaps are, where they come from, you know, I just want to know more. I'm just like that. And intuitively speaking, sometimes when you see those overlaps, even when they're not intended, you know, it's a message. When you have that available as like a catalog in your brain, that means that when spirit is communicating through you or with you or whatever it is, you know, the anima mundi or the abyss, you're getting that information for a reason. And if it triggers something here, because that link is established, you have that additional information to draw from. And when it pops into your mind, you know, as you're reading, not because you're intending to, but because it just goes poof, there's this extra bit that just popped in. You can trust it. You can trust it. It's popped up for a reason. So yeah, these are just delightful. Interestingly, my mom and I have really bonded over playing with these little European decks, and my mom loves them. She's like, they're so cute. They're so cute. And they're just chatty. You know, they're not overly deep and they're not overly spiritual. They're just there to give you the information. You know, money. That's it. It's nothing deep, nothing spiritual, nothing major. It's just that's part of what we're going to talk about in this reading. That's it. You know, or cheerfulness, right? Or joyfulness. Yeah, both of these have that kind of like Three of Cups, you know, aspect to them in various needs. So, you know, there's just always, this is fascinating. I'm fascinated. And I'm fascinated with the idea of just, you know, of the ways in which games used to be thought of as a way of divining, and touching into the divine, you know, that you weren't just playing a game and it didn't have any meaning. It was just fun. You know, when card games really started, they had, you know, to play a game had so much more significance to it. So I kind of love that as well. And I love the way it's evolved. These, I'll show the Hanafuda. I've shown them before. I've done a walkthrough at some point. You can find it. Hi, Mr. Bubba. There's a very slow, cautiously moving puppy. Hi. Hi. Yeah. He's gotten very sort of weazened in the last 6 months. It's really hard. He sees the chiropractor, but his body hurts. It's his low back and his rear legs. So I may actually need to put down a blanket for him so he can lie down more comfortably. Okay, I think we're all settled. It's a lot to be with. It's hard. Anyway, so yes, Hanafuda, this marvelous, these are Nintendo Hanafuda cards. They're teeny weeny, and they're based on different plants and animals. And of course, each corresponds to a season or month of the year. And they are utterly, utterly delightful to work with and play with. So, yeah, I have enjoyed playing with them. There's a form of solitaire that you can play. I hope I remember to put that as a resource in the video, but if you're interested. And it's really sweet and fun, and I've enjoyed it. And I don't know what more to say about it. I think I did a lot of that while my mom was home from the hospital when she had her surgery back in June. And I haven't played it as much recently, but I kind of feel like I really want to. I really loved playing with these cards. And I feel like they're just going to start telling me how they want me to use them too. So I should probably just let them do that. So yeah, that's kind of it for, do I have any other I do. I have this original German KIPPER. So this one I just pulled out of the magic bag here, which goes with me everywhere. And these are delightful. They are so different from the, they're a little creepy. They're so different from the Musruck KIPPER. But this is the original, KIPPER deck. I was playing with them a lot to do, like political predictions, like week to week. just like what's going to happen with politics, what's going to, you know, all of that. And they were so shockingly spot on that it was creepy. It really, at moments, it was incredibly creepy. So specific, so succinct. It's really, it's kind of astonishing. But yeah, you can kind of get a sense of what these are like. This one's so awful and wonderful because it's just so weird. The illustration. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've really, I've had a great time messing with them and working with them. Yeah. So that's, oh, here's all, and it comes with all of the instructions. Of course, they're all auf Deutsch, but, you know, so even with the German, little bit of German that I know, I'm still a little bit lost. So having other resources to consult is really better for the learning. But anyway, yeah. So that is the fun with, you know, with Cartomancy and LENORMAND and KIPPER, and hopefully soon with, you know, more with SIBILLA. So yeah, I kind of feel, I'm feeling, what am I doing? Oh dear. Yeah, so just, yeah, a lot of fun. And I think that's plenty. There'll be more to come. All right, guys, thanks. Bye.